All right. Hope everybody's doing well today. And this is my first live stream, and I don't know if anybody's going to show up, but hey, giving it a try, right? Um, I want to help people, and I think saving your career is so important because if you have the ability to understand how you make an impact in the world, man, it's going to do wonders for you. And it's exciting because I think when you look at your life, look back and you say, is this something that I am proud of? Is this something that has made a difference in people's lives? And that's when you can really say, yes, okay, I did what I was meant to do, set out to do. Um, it's not easy. It's not easy to do these things. It's not easy to do these live streams and hope somebody shows up. I had 20 people sign up, and so far I'm at zero that's come on for this live. But I feel like a lot of people are going to be listening to the recording, so I'm going to bring him. I'm going to bring my all today for you. One of the things I want to touch on, I got an email this morning, and the a woman is struggling with time and boundaries. She said, "What do I do? Like, before COVID, we had time. We could sometimes take longer lunches. We could, had some time between projects. Now all that's gone away, and we're just hustling all day long, and it's exhausting. It's her and her team, and it really made me think because doing work you love is so important. And when you are just stretched thin and you are trying to keep on to do the next thing and keep checking off all those things on your list, it's overwhelming and it's hard, and you don't want to um, keep staying at that job and keep trying your best because what's the point, right? You just keep on to going to the next thing and the next thing. And so before we get into your vision for your career and all that, I want to talk about making space for yourself. How do you try to, create that space so you can do things you love? Yeah, and that's a big part of that is saying no to things. In this woman's case, in this email, she was like, okay, my boss hasn't taken time off. My coworkers barely do unless they have a sick kid. Um, but for the most part, they're just going, going, going. And if your boss doesn't set the example to make some space for yourself, it's hard to take it. And one of the things when I replied back to her, I was like, okay, what can you do to create a plan? What can you do to make this a possibility? And so it starts there. It starts with you being able to see what's possible and what's not. And this is the thing, right? Like, if you feel like something's not possible, it's not possible. Like, I don't care, if you can't have that mindset of like, okay, I'm going to do this thing, I'm going to try this thing, I'm going to say no to this project, then it's not going to happen. And um, one of the things that I think about is, when you are trying to make your career something delightful and something exciting, something that you look forward to, then you have to be able to say, okay, I'm going to do this today. And I'm going to make sure that this is a priority because I think too often we live in the world of what other people tell us, and not just so much of like from our boss telling us what to do or what projects to work on or not, but also from the fact that how they feel determines how we feel. And I want to break this cycle. This is the most possibly the most important part of this live cast is to talk to really bring to you an awareness of what are you doing to take back ownership of your career. I often talk about being the captain of your career, and it's because when you are taking that time to decide what direction you want to go in and how you want to go there, you're more likely to be intentional about what you do throughout the day. If you're just going from one task to the next, it's just a constant grind, and you're just trying to keep up. And so the first thing that I want you to do, and hopefully you brought a pen and a piece of paper, maybe you got your phone on you, but one of the things I want you to do is I want you to write things that you're grateful for. Because in the end, and my goal for you after these 5 days is for you to do 20% more of the work that you love. And it starts with gratitude. It starts with knowing what you are currently enjoying, and then we can figure out how you can do more of that stuff. What are you grateful for? Are you grateful for your coworkers? Are you grateful for your boss? Are you grateful for the ability to take breaks? Are you grateful for working from home? Are you grateful for being out in the community and seeing people and doing these things that excite you? That is so important. Now, the key component of all this is your why. Why are you grateful for these things? Because this is what's going to deepen it. You know me, I love digging deep, right? Like, it's not just I'm grateful for that I can make myself a cup of coffee working from home. I'm grateful that my employer provides coffee. Why? Right? Like, start to understand why, and you will start to build that awareness, that self awareness. So, as you're listing all these things, and hopefully, I'm going to allow you to I'll keep talking, right? Because it's not much of a live cast if I'm just sitting here looking at you. But the idea is list these things you're grateful for. Do it now, even if it's just one thing that you're grateful for. And this will allow you to start to say, okay, this is working for me. This is good. And, this is a note that I have by my desk. One essential thing to accomplish each day, right? So if we have one essential thing, then that's going to help keep us focused. And for me, that essential thing is doing something that I enjoy. It's always in that category. So the three main categories of a high quality task or project is, does it fit in line with your values? Can you get passionate about it? And can you use your strengths in this area? So, for example, my podcast, my it fits my values of connecting with other people, helping other people get exposure to my audience. It also fits in line with my passions. I love a good conversation, especially 101. I'm an introvert, so probably a lot of you that are watching right now, this is the 5-day introverts challenge to save your career. And it fits my strengths because I enjoy talking. I am not a great talker. I do these with you because I love it. I'm an introvert. After this is done, I'm going to be wiped out for the day, but that's okay, right? I like doing these and I enjoy them, but I understand where my energy lies. And that's what I want you to really think about next is, you wrote down your gratitude, hopefully, or you will write down what you're grateful for about your current career. Real quick, before I move on, what gratitude does is it helps release dopamine and serotonin. And serotonin is the everything's okay chemical release in your brain. And the dopamine is the get up and go and take action release in your brain. So it's amazing. The doctors have not being able to figure out a medication that can do both of these. But gratitude does, and gratitude, gratitude, gratitude can be used at any time, right? Like this is a skill and a practice that can be done anywhere, anytime, as long as you have your thoughts, right? And this this is a powerful lesson, I think, or a powerful part of this, of what I want to teach you today, is to really think about and look at, you know, what, how to use gratitude and how to help it settle you or help you take action. And so there's a thing called way power and willpower. Way power is like, the wind behind your sails. You're just this gravitational pull or this gentle push that occurs when you're passionate about something. And coming back to those three tenets of doing those projects, when you're passionate about something, like me doing this right now, this live stream, then what ends up happening is you get excited, you feel this natural push or pull towards something, and you don't have to make yourself do it. And that's what willpower is. You're forcing yourself to do that thing, and that depletes your energy. And that's a huge part of doing things you love, is having the energy to do them. And going back to that email from this morning, when you are just going from task to task to project, it's exhausting, and you don't make time to do those projects that you love. And so, in this class, in this 5-day challenge, I want you to do 20% more of work you love every single day. Now, one of the things that she did say in her email is like that, how do you balance that? How do you manage that? And I know I had trouble saying no to my boss, or I had trouble um, speaking up. And this is one of the things that I've learned and really been trying to do more of. And when you speak up and you say, okay, you asked me to do these two other things, I have these five other things on my plate. What do you want me to focus on? When you tell him how, how not overworked, but how, um, you can only focus on one thing at a time, right? So when he comes to you, and this is all about creating space for yourself, it's not about saying no, it's about throwing the ball back to him and saying, okay, yeah, I can do these other important things, but tell me, what do you want me to focus on? What are the top three? What are the top two? What is the top one? Because then you have a better idea of what he or she needs. And then this is uh, the tricky part for a lot of people to wrap their minds around. Then it's about creating the tasks that work towards, completing that project that fit your strengths, passions, and values. Now, a lot of times, let's say, I don't know, you're a designer, right? Like you are tasked with this certain project and you have a certain deadline. Maybe you say, okay, this is the way I need to go about doing it. But this is where creativity comes into play. And this is where you can say, okay, how can I do this? And this is that pause, right? That pause before we jump in. And I am so bad at this. I am the worst at just saying, okay, I'm going to go do this thing. I'm going to try this thing. And I jump right in and I tackle it the way I always tackle it. But when we step back, we say, okay, wait a second, what can I do a little bit differently so I enjoy this a little bit more? And this is so important because I don't do this a lot. I mean, I do this now because I've been practicing this stuff for years. But being able to pause and slow down and say, okay, if I try it this way, this is what's going to happen. Now, if I try it this way, this other way, for example, you need to create a logo, right? And so your first thing is to start making sketches. Now, you might enjoy that, but a lot of times our brain is just complete the task. So we're not enjoying it. We are just trying to complete the task to get to the next task, which then we're just trying to complete that task. And you see where I'm going with this? Just the cycle of pain and struggle occur. And this happens day after day after day. And this is where we have to get our mindset right. And this is why gratitude is so important. Because when we stop and say, I got to do this thing, wait, why am I grateful for this thing? It pauses us. And the serotonin floods our brain. And we don't just jump in with anxiety and stress. We jump in with more excitement because we're slowing down and we're tackling it in a way that allows us to be our best self. And so that is a big, huge part of what I want you to be able to do over the next 5 days. Start to make that perspective shift and see things from different angles. And think of all, I'm doing a lot of talking. You know what? Look over your gratitude list while I take it. I love green tea, by the way. I could drink it all day long. I can't, because if I drink it all day long, what's going to happen is I'm going to get to like 4 o'clock. I'm going to be like, and I'm going to have trouble sleeping. So I know I can't go past 1 o'clock. It's 12:16 my time. So I'm going to take a sip right now. Okay. And so I'm grateful for you guys, that you're watching right now. No, it's on this live stream, but that's good. I'm still energized because I know people are going to watch it. And as I have a coughing fit on live. But what I really want to, make sure that you're doing with your mindset is level setting it, pausing before you jump right in. And then you can start to say, what could I do around this task? And so some of the tasks, I don't know if you downloaded the mini guide, but when you got the email, hopefully if you didn't get the email, just email Carl with a K at digtofly.com. And I'll send you the link to sign up. But the idea is when you start looking for ways to shift your perspective and find those creative ways to tackle this work so it's more fun, and sometimes it's just turning in the game. Sometimes it is a tedious task and you're just like, oh, here we go again. When you start to find those creative ways to do your work, the best work that you can, you're going to bring more energy to the task. You're going to get it done faster, and you're probably going to be more creative and maybe solve it faster. And it's going to help you create more space. It's going to help you find a little bit more time to do that other work. And this is where so many people don't do. And it's why I have a business. It's why I have a consulting business. And it's why I help people dig the fly, because I help them pause and I help them figure out what's the best way to, tackle a project, move forward, not hit so many barriers, and do it in a way that's fun, and do it in a way that where people are engaged and excited to do what they're doing. And so it's really important to think about how can you slow down, look at those tasks, and then say, okay, this is the way I can move forward. This is the way I can tackle it. Okay, so um, oh, here's a really cool story. I have a bunch of notes. When you make time to reflect on a situation, you build confidence, which helps you process the situation and learn from it so you can achieve your desired goal. And that's what gratitude does. That's what taking some moments, some minutes at the end of the day to think through. And we'll talk about the rate your day routine in the next call. But the idea is um, taking that time to process, taking that time to slow down and enjoy what you're doing. Um, and I, one of the things it's easy for me to, I'm 45. I've worked hard. I've figured out a lot of these things. What works best for my personality, and why I am able to do work that I love. Why am I able to, why am I surrounded by great people? Uh, a lot of it is hard work. A lot of it's luck. A lot of it's, you know, um, leaning on other people. Because if you want to do 20% more of the work you love, I'm gonna be flat out honest. You gotta be courageous. I know, like that email I got this morning. It's hard to say no to your boss. It really is. It's hard to say, okay, I've got these other projects. What do you want me to focus on? You're putting it back on them, and you're making them have to make a tough choice, a tough decision. Um, Now, one of the things that you could also think about doing is having a solution prepared, right? Like you say, "Hey, I've got these things. You're asking me to do these two others. What do you want me to focus on?" That's one, right? But another angle is, here's what I propose. I'm going to work on these three, but I'm also going to do this other thing, but I think it will help us accomplish this other thing that you're asking, but I want to try it in this way. And the reason that I'm saying that is you're showing that you have the ability to process the situation and then say, how about we do it like this? And a lot of people do that. And you can stand out with your boss by saying, no, I really think this would be the best way to do it. And this is why, coming back to why, right? And I get it. If some of you are thinking, "There's no way I could say that to my boss," yeah, I get you. But if you don't try, you're never gonna know. You're never gonna know what you're made of. And this is this course, saving your career, is about not worrying about what other people think. And I know it's easy to say that, right? But if you come from your heart, if you come from your values, right? You are being you, your authentic self. And that's what I'm asking for, right? I'm not asking you to, you know, stomp on the desk, hit your fist, in your boss's chair, or, tell your boss off. What I'm telling you to do is try to take a reasonable approach. Understand what their goals are, right? And maybe that's a really good point, is say, okay, what are you trying to accomplish by adding these two things to my list? What do you want from me? Because, I'm human. I can only do so much. And I realize that your boss is probably asking too much of you. But if you can figure out what your boss wants, his mindset or her mindset, and then be able to create a plan together from there, you are then becoming the captain of your own career. You're building up that courage to take back control and try things in your own way. Now, I'm not saying go off and do rogue stuff. I'm saying, it's all about increments, creating little leverage points to allow you to, create that freedom that you deserve in your career. And, maybe for you create some freedom, and then you realize, maybe I do need to go to another job. And that's okay. That's okay. If you find something that's a better fit for you, it's more aligned with your strengths, passions, and values, then I'll go for it. That's so important. Go for it. But how are you going to get there, right? How are you getting there now? So I have a client I'm working with, and one of the things that she actually just got a new job. She was so stressed out. She was having stomach issues and throat issues. And it was just, it was kind of heartbreaking for me. And I kept kind of pushing on that mindset stuff. And I felt bad because I was like, you know what? Like, she needs a change. But to be able to make that change, you have to get right up here, right? Like, you can't just be like, quit my job and I'm going to go find a new one. It's not how life works. The more we feel beaten down, the more we feel scared, the more we feel sad about our present situation, the more we're going to perpetuate this role and this life that we have. And we can't do that. We got to break that cycle. You got to break it. And you've got to figure out how you can start to shift your mindset to do those things that you really want. Because that's what this is about, right? What do you really want? When's the last time you asked yourself that? I want you to write down, what do I really want? And then answer it. What do I really want? What do you really want? Because you deserve it. You deserve what you really want, but you have to be willing to have the courage to go after it. I know. I know. I still struggle with this. I'm not perfect at it. I want my podcast to be bigger than it is. I want my next book to be a bestseller. And I got to have the courage to say, I'm going to put myself out there. I'm going to go to the next level. I'm going to buy ads to really take this to the next level. Right. I've never done that I've done that for one of my books in Amazon, but I've never gone a full out launch before. And I play it small. And, like it, we need to teach the things that we've learned and we need to learn. So right now, as much as I'm talking to you, I'm talking to myself as well. And this is life, right? We take, 3 steps forward, we take 2 steps back. But we're always moving forward, always getting a little bit better. And I've noticed myself, a big shift is I'm not as afraid of failing. And yeah, there's some fear there. There's some stress and anxiety there, but I'm trying things. I'm reaching out to people, asking people on my podcast that I normally would have been afraid. I'm reaching out to small business owners and doing workshops with them. And this has been hard, right? Like, this has been, that imposter syndrome that I've often felt. And as I look back and I look at all the things that, I wish I would have done earlier, it's it's building these relationships, and you can do it. You can build a relationship with coworkers, build relationships with your boss, so you can say no. You can say, okay, this is what I'm proposing, because you've proven yourself. You've built up the ability to have the confidence to do it. And that's where I'm heading next, is confidence, right? Like, if you don't have the confidence to really make the hard choices, then you're not going to do the things you love. So I have a list of 5 mistakes introverts make. Introverts don't reach out to people they can help. I don't know how often you reach out, but if you're anything like me, it's not nearly enough. I'm getting better at it. Like I said, getting much better. Introverts say yes too often. Introverts don't process their day. They're so exhausted by the end of the day, they don't make time to say, okay, What did I do well today? What did I learn from today? And then how would I rate my day? And this is a powerful rate your day routine. When you do that, when you slow down, take 15 minutes at the end of the day, what went well? What did I learn? And then rate it. You're going to start to see patterns. And these patterns are going to help you give you energy. And this energy is the stuff that will allow you to do more of the stuff you love in your current role as well as on the side. Because I think a lot of times we're not fully doing the things that we love because, our jobs, our careers aren't, the don't have the ability to use all our strengths. It's just a fact of life. Very few careers do. We are multi-talented people with different passions, different strengths, and it's figuring out how to use them. And so going back to introverts mistakes, introverts avoid high profile projects because they don't want to be too out in front of the crowd. They don't want to get judged too much. And the last one, introverts don't make time to appreciate their hard work. So that's so important. When you make time to slow down, bring a little bit of gratitude, you have that serotonin hit. Everything's okay. You have to have that ability to say, you know what, things are okay. They're not great, but they're okay. And then you settle your mind, and then you're able to do the things because you don't feel anxious and stressed, to feel like you got to rush to the next thing to make better quality choices. And I think one of the and better quality choices means being able to tackle those hard things that are gonna stress you out, that are going to stretch you. Because when you do that, when you take on those harder things, you learn more about yourself. You start to peel away your armor. And the next live lesson on Wednesday, we'll talk about more about that. One of the things that I found really interesting, and I want to bring up a Steve Jobs story. He was a failure. He was thrown out of his own organization as out of Apple. Uh, and he was tough on people. He was tough on himself. He really, um, I think, struggled with his inner voice a lot. And so he had vision in his head. And I want you to have a vision for your career, but also understand when to pull the levers and when not to. And he was pulling every single lever so often, so much. And um, I think he overdid it, and I've overdone it, and I've been burned out, and I've really had this idea of where whenever we look at our career and we kind of look back and say, "Wow, this is what I did," or "This is what might say about me." We have these expectations, right? We expect certain things to happen when they don't, which is often, we lose energy. We stop trying to do those things that really help us grow. And Steve Jobs, when he got kicked out, there was some sulking. There was a lot of depression. But then what he was able to do is, he started new things, and he started, another computer company. He took over Pixar. And I know you, it's tough. Like, oh, look at all the opportunities he had, right? And the money that he had. Um, that's true. But it's life is 99% mindset. You have opportunities too. Yes, they're on a smaller scale. Yes, they don't have as much money, but you have opportunities. You can help someone in another organization. You could help consult. You have expertise in even if you're 25 and you've been doing your work for 2 years, you have expertise. You can help other people. You can hop on LinkedIn and support other people and answer other people's questions. And when you do, you're giving back. And Adam Grant always likes to talk about givers versus takers, right? Uh, and I'm afraid to admit this, but I was a taker for the longest time. And then I was kind of in the middle. And now I'm swinging my pendulum towards being more of a giver. It's why I created the podcast and why I have amazing people on it to kind of talk to them, let them find out things about themselves, learn about themselves in the questions that I ask, but also share that with my audience and give them a platform to share their expertise with my audience. And that's done wonders for my career. And and it's a side hustle. But that is what I'm talking about. And that's what's possible for you you know things like writing for your company's website or doing some research around a certain project. If I like we talked about earlier with that letter, you don't always have much time, but if you do, how are you spending it? How are you figuring out a way to show your value and create more value inside your company and outside? And that's what Steve Jobs eventually did. He showed he could helm Apple again because of everything that he did. Now I need some more tea. It's getting close to my 1 o'clock hour. All right. So um, I think it's an important story to listen and to follow what Steve Jobs was able to do, because when he got that offer to come back, he had a different mindset. He understood the vision that he couldn't execute before, and now he could. And so instead of doing what the company kept doing, he did a 180. He trimmed the products down by some parts of Apple by 80%. He trimmed it down because they were bleeding money. And what most people like to do is they want to come and add something. He needed to remove things away. And that's what you need to do in your career. If things are taking up energy and they're not giving you the results that you want, how can you eliminate it or reduce it so you can do more of those positive things that help you? Because in the end, that's what you're shooting for, right? You're shooting to do work that you love, to be a valuable member in your industry. Like I said, I I'm figuring out things, I'm growing things, I'm building partnerships just like you. I'm not a billionaire, but I love what I do. I love what I do. I'm a designer, I'm a writer, I'm a podcaster, and that's a real quick point I want to make is you are not just your one thing in your career. You are a mother, a husband, a father, a yoga practitioner, meditation practitioner. You're a hiker. You're a biker. You're so many things. And when you start peeling away these layers and being more authentic, you're allowing yourself to really grow and stretch. You're allowing yourself to say, okay, I'm okay with these parts of myself. Now, these parts, I need to grow in these areas a little bit. I need to use my strengths in these areas a little bit. Because when you do, that's when you can start to be the captain of your career again. And then you can save it. Because that's exciting, right? You can do it. You can have the ability to take back control. Okay. So your homework for today, keep track of how many tasks you do and whether you enjoy them or not. Just keep a journal today. What task are you doing? And tomorrow to just task and Smiley face or frowny face? Do you enjoy it or not? And then start to see the patterns. Notice what's going on in your career. What can you eliminate? What frowny faces on that list can you say, no, no more of this? Okay, like I said, I know it's hard to say no, but if you go in with a proposal and you say, this is what I'm going to do, I'm going to eliminate these things, but I'm going to work on this. And this is what I think is going to happen if you allow me to work on it. Yes, it could fail, but you're showing so much gumption and you're showing what it's like if they are willing to trust you. And even if it fails, show them what you learn from it and what could be the next steps. Because then you're deciding on what type of work that you want to do. If your boss sees that you're willing to try these other things and make a bigger impact for a certain amount of time, and you're willing to try these things, he or she's going to say, yes, I want more of this. This person, it wants to take action. This person wants to try these things. They're not afraid to fail. And that's what I want from you. That's where we need to get this right up here. Then you can start to do more of the things that you love. Okay. And then if you can track the smiley faces, see what the patterns are, start to understand what's working for you, what's not. Okay, this is day one, everybody. Thank you so much. I love being here. And if you have any questions, email me at Carl with a K at digtofly.com and go check out my articles, my podcast. I love having you in my community. Thank you so much. And yeah, I'll see you on Wednesday.